Hi folks, HR Funk here. Welcome to part 2 of my evaluation of the Tizosh Tank Commander. In part 1 of this video, I conducted a detailed shop review of this handgun, and if you missed that, I would encourage you to go back and watch it. In fact, I'll put a link in the description section of this video. But in part 2, I'm going to be focused on actually shooting this handgun. So I'm out here at the range today, and in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to get things set up and ready to go. First up is going to be a mechanical accuracy test, which I'm going to conduct from a distance of 15 yards. In that test, I'll be shooting from the bench, and I'll see just what kind of accuracy I can eke out of this 4 1/4 inch barrel. So here we go. And I'm set up for the accuracy test, but before I actually start to shoot, there are a couple of items of business I want to take care of. First of all, I want to say thanks again to House of Pain Munitions for supplying both the Tank Commander for this evaluation and also the ammunition that I'm going to be using. Ammunition for today's test is House of Pain 230 grain 45 ACP full metal jacket ammunition. The other item I want to mention is before I came out to the range today, I did clean and properly lube the Tank Commander. So the ammunition or the rounds that you're going to see fired in just a moment will be the first shots that have ever been fired through this pistol, but I did prepare it properly before I came out. So now let's see how it shoots. All right, let's go take a look at the target. 4 of those 5 shots from that distance of 15 yards went into 2 inches, which isn't too bad. This shot opens it up to about 3 1/2, or a little less than that, about 3 3/8. So not bad accuracy from that distance, but this is not the best accuracy that I've ever seen in that drill either. But those were also the first rounds to ever be cycled through the Tank Commander. So we'll see if this improves as we go on. Now let's move up and speed up, and I'm going to start into some defensive drills, beginning with controlled pairs from a distance of 5 yards. Okay, I can definitely live with that, folks. Maybe my mechanical accuracy test wasn't as good as I would like it to be, but my controlled pairs are much better than I expected them to be. I've got 4 of those 6 shots forming one ragged hole, 2 more that are still dead center in the target here from that distance of 5 yards, so I'm very happy with that. Now I'll move on to some failure drills from a distance of 7 yards. Not quite as good on those failure drills as I was with the controlled pairs. I've got 3 of the 4 shots in the body, still in a tight cluster here in the center of the target. I pulled this one off to the side a little bit, although that is still a good lung shot. And my headshots I'm pulling slightly off to the left, and I'm not sure why that's happening, but I'm going to keep working with the pistol and see. That might just be me getting acquainted with the shorter barrel and shorter sight radius of the Tank Commander and not having quite as much leeway as I do with the full-length government model 1911s. So on we go, back to 15 yards. I'll try 5 shots to the body from back there, and we'll see how they look. And that's a little more like it. All 5 of those shots are in this very center shaded portion of the target. And obviously I was not squeezing off those shots as fast as I could cycle the trigger. I was getting a good sight picture and executing a good trigger squeeze, and it showed up on the target. So I'm glad to see that. It looks like these shots that were wandering off to the left were all my fault on the failure drills, and there's nothing at all wrong with the sights or the pistol itself. Now back to a distance of 25 yards, and I'll repeat this 5-shot drill from that distance. And I'll take that from 25 yards with a 4 1/4 inch Tank Commander. I've got 3 shots almost touching in the very dead center of the target. This one is probably easily within 2 inches center to center. I should measure that. One of them I pulled a little bit low, but still stayed in this center portion of the target. So I'm very happy with that from 25 yards. And I think I'm getting a little more acclimated to the Tank Commander. This trigger is very typical of a government style 1911, so I do have to work with it a little bit, make sure I'm not jerking it or anything like that. And so long as I do my part, obviously the pistol is capable of very good accuracy. So now I'm going to move back up and try something different, something I haven't done for a while. I'm going to try a multiple target drill. And when I fire this drill, I'm going to start out by firing 1 shot at the target on the right, 3 shots at the target on the left, and then 2 more shots at the target on the right, all in rapid succession. And this is just to test more or less the handling of the Tank Commander as I'm transitioning from target to target during this drill. All right, first body shot was good. These 3 shots are good, very close together, especially for the tempo that I was shooting. Got another good body shot here going right through to the spine, and my very last shot I pulled high, and that's what happens when you try to run a pistol like the Tank Commander a little bit too fast. I don't have quite the sight radius, don't have quite the weight that I have on the full-size pistol, and the recoil had me a little bit too far with my elevation to be able to keep that on the target. So that's my fault. Should have slowed down a little bit to keep that shot in there, but the pistol itself did very, very well. And so far it's 100% reliable with that 230 grain House of Pain Munitions ammunition. And speaking of that ammunition, I just happened to see some water bottle Desperados sneaking onto the range. We haven't seen them for a while. So what do you say we give them a taste of 230 grain hardball from House of Pain and see if we can convince them that they shouldn't have picked today to come back around. Well, folks, Desperado number 3 was doing some bobbing and weaving, but in the end, he got his. All right, folks, moment of truth. Is the Tizosh Tank Commander a 7-yard tack driver? I've got a tack in the target. I've got 3 rounds loaded up in the pistol, so let's find out. Folks, I really cannot, I say that all the time, but I really can't get much closer than that. If there's an award for getting close without actually driving the tack, I would have won it several times over the last few years. Ooh, that was just a bad shot. A little bit of trigger mismanagement that time around. I have 1 more shot to see if it's a tack driver. No! The Tank Commander is not going to be a tack driver, at least not today. So not a tack driver, but as it turns out, I've got 9 rounds left with me out here at the range today, and everyone knows it's against the law to take ammunition back home with you. So I'm going to repeat that 7-yard failure drill that I did a while ago and see if I can improve on what I shot the first time around. So here we go, failure drill from 7 yards, take 2. And yes, I say that's a definite improvement over the failure drill the first time around. Still pulling the shots a little bit to the left, pulling my head shots a little bit to the left, but I don't think this bad guy would have really been able to tell the difference. I think he would have been pretty much done with his evil ways by the time I finished any one of those trios of shots with 230 grain hardball ammunition. So final thoughts on the Tizosh Tank Commander. The first thing I'll say is $430, folks. $430 MSRP for a forged all-steel 1911 Commander variant that has a very strong World War II vibe going. Now, as I said in the shop review, this is an historical fiction. There was never a pistol quite like this that was used during World War II. Even so, it's just kind of cool. I like the Tank Commander. When it comes to shooting, there are a few things I noticed. The enhanced GI sights that Tizosh puts on these handguns are a little better than the standard GI sights, but not a lot. And I noticed when I was shooting my way through some of the drills, I had to work a little bit harder to get my sight picture. And of course, it is a commander length pistol, so as sight radius decreases, sight alignment becomes that much more critical. And you saw there were 1 or 2 shots that wandered off the reservation while I was shooting my way through the drills. And even one of the water bottle Desperados managed to jump out from in front of the bullet. So you have to work a little bit harder. It's not a target pistol. It's not a match pistol, but it is an extremely cool and very reliable 1911 variant. Now, I only ran it with that 230 grain hardball ammunition, but all of the first 50 rounds ran through this without a problem. And of course, that's exactly what this pistol is set up to shoot. And I'm really not interested in running it with hollow points. Now, someone might get one of these, and by all means, if you want to get one, test it with hollow points, see how it's going to run. But for me, this is a hardball pistol. This is one you load up with a magazine full of ball ammunition, drop it into a holster, and you go out on your farm, your ranch, or wherever, and you've got this pistol should you need it for something. Obviously, it's a lot of fun on the range. It is a little hefty, so for concealed carry, it's possible. I've certainly carried full-size all-steel 1911s before, and I'll do it again at some point in the future. So it is carryable, but it's just going to have a little bit more weight and a little bit more size than some of the options that are available these days. I also noticed that in shooting, the grip safety is kind of critical. You have to make sure you have a good grip and you get that grip safety completely depressed. It's not like some of them where you just touch it and the pistol will fire. You need to make sure you get that good grip. I would recommend what I'll call the traditional 1911 thumb over thumb grip to make sure that you've got that grip safety depressed and the pistol is going to fire when you want it to fire. Speaking of safeties, some of you have seen my past reviews of the Tizosh 1911s, and you know that I've mentioned the safety before being a little less positive than I would prefer. I think this one feels a little bit better than my US Army pistol or my Raider, so I don't know if Tizosh has actually worked on that and improved a little bit, or if I just got one that feels a little bit better than it did in those. You may recall that I changed the plunger tube spring in those pistols, and that solved any issues with the safety at all. But I just wanted to make you aware this one feels a little bit better. I also do like the wood grips on here. If I end up keeping this pistol, I'm just going to leave those wood grips on because I like the way they look. When it comes to recoil management with this pistol, I was noticing a little bit more recoil with the shorter commander length pistol than I would with the full length government size 1911, which is to be expected. And that Hot Munitions 230 grain ball is fairly stout ammunition, so I was noticing a little bit of muzzle flip. You might have seen some of that as you were watching me shoot my way through the drills. It was never unpleasant. It just felt like 45 ACP ammunition out of a commander length pistol. So no problem with that. No problem with hammer bite, slide bite, or any other kind of bite. For me, and I've mentioned this before, the A1 style grip safety is fine. I don't have any issues with anything biting me when the slide cycles. I know some of you do have a problem with that if you've got a hand that's a little bit more fleshy and it gets up around the grip safety and underneath the hammer and all that. You might notice some bite from that, but I don't have that problem with this handgun or really any other 1911 A1 style pistol. A quick word about magazines. In most of the test, I was running the 7-round Tizosh magazines, and I believe these are manufactured by Mec-Gar, but I don't know, and as you saw, they ran just fine. There was not a failure of any kind. But on a few of the drills, I was also running an 8-round Chip McCormick magazine, and that also ran flawlessly. Most noticeably on that last failure drill that I did, if you counted, you would have counted that I shot 9 rounds in a row. That was 8 rounds in this magazine plus 1 round in the chamber to begin with. And again, no issues whatsoever with the Chip McCormick. It feeds into the magazine well, smoothly, locks in place, and obviously functions perfectly. So I think in the end, my biggest question with the Tank Commander is, should I buy it? I keep telling myself I don't really need it. I've got other commander size 1911s that I actually shoot a little bit better, but in all fairness, they have better triggers and better sights, so I should shoot them better. I don't really need the Tank Commander, but I don't know, maybe I should take a show of hands. Who says I should buy the Tank Commander? So I don't know. I'm gonna have to mull this over. It might not end up going back to Hot Munitions. I can't make up my mind. I do like this pistol. I just think it's a cool rendering of the 1911 World War II era pistol in a commander size package. And in the end, maybe the cool part will win out and I'll end up making this a permanent resident of my safe. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 5% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also remember the discount code from Hot Munitions. If you go to Hot Munitions, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFUNK10, and that'll save you 10% off your purchase from Hot Munitions. And last but not least is the Target sponsor for the channel. We saw their Targets out here again today. If you go to Targets online, check out their inventory and see if they have anything that's going to meet your Target needs. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.